all loaded up and headed to the woods. I think I'm finally getting all my ducks in a row here. I've cut 2 logs up completely. This is the second one here. I took one 2.5-inch plank off, and then I've left the rest of that because it's a smaller log, and I'll wait and see if I'm going to cut the 1.25-inch roof boards or slab another 2.25 off of the floor. I got enough big logs that I think I'm going to have some nice wide floor planks. So I'll cut them up first to see what I got, and then I'll tackle the roof boards because they don't have to be near the quality and trueness of these floorboards. This is a really nice, straight, decent diameter tamarack log, and so maybe I'll get 4 to 5 planks out of this one if it works out right. I'll get it measured up when I get it out here in the proper position to cut. I get it up here where it's going to work out better in the end. Again, all these little things I've learned over the last couple of logs. Doesn't take much to make it spin out. Should be good. Looks good. Now I want to eyeball the log and see which way we want to make our cuts. I'm not seeing it's going to make a lot of difference. Looking at it from this end, I think I want to turn it about almost 90 degrees, and then down at the other end, that flat spot down there will be down, and it'll help to stabilize and keep the log steady. Yeah, I think I'll tweak that a little bit, but I think we're looking pretty good. I'm going to square off this end, so when I put my ladder, little brace across there, it'll work better. This end will determine where I'm going to make my cut, because I want to come up from the center. That's what I'll measure later on that. This is where I decide where I'm going to make my first cut. Doesn't seem right, but my level says it is. Now I'll take my measurement from the center of the log and I'll go to the other end and we'll make our cut the same distance up from the center of the log. I want to come up 4.5 inches from the center at the other end. This end's a little bit ugly, so I got a few inches to spare, so I've measured off. I want this log 14.5 feet, so I'm going to square it off to 14.5, and that'll give me a lot better surface to measure off of back here. Little saw didn't have quite the length to it. Before I marked this, I went back to measure twice on the other end, and I decided to, instead of coming up 4.5 inches, I decided to come up 4.25. It'll give me a little bit more room to play with down there as far as trying to get my ladder braced. That may seem like we're wasting wood, but not really, because in the end, the log tapers, and so we're going to end up out on near the outer part of the log at the other end is only about this much to spare. So this will be saved for firewood, or maybe a guy could, on this end, you could get another little slab out of there if I wanted to. But you can see, this is a piece that I cut off of the previous log, and I trimmed off the end to kind of square things up so it didn't really have the round right here. But you can see the idea, it gets thinner all the way down. So I think our measurements are done. We can start anchoring the ladder. Now as I anchor this support board for my ladder rail, I'll get that evened up, and I put it just over 1/8 of an inch above my cut line, so I'll bring my saw blade in right without touching my 2x4. Bringing this along saved me a lot of time. That feels good and firm. Now we do the other end. Now, because this log has such a big flare on the butt end, you can see that my rail doesn't want to sit down on on my guide bar. So what I'm going to do is just up here on top where these rungs come across, I'm going to mark that, and I'll just cut out a little groove on these first few, and then I think my ladder will set down the way I want it. So now with my rail on my lateral support across there, now I can go and attach the other end at the proper spot. All of this upside down work is why back at the cabin when I cut up the big logs we've hauled up there, I want to get a platform up in the air, so I'm not doing this all the time. Now that we got that about right, now we got to put some supports in the middle here. This ladder will get, you see, even with the stiff ladder pushing down on it, we're gonna get a wavy board if we don't get some supports. And we gotta get, it's so important to get this rail fixed firmly. So if I go along here for 10 minutes with that chainsaw, things don't move and we don't get a warped board before it even has a chance to dry and do it itself. Well, after all that, I take a lot of time with this because this is, for me, this is the most important one because it's going to guarantee a good board all the way through if we keep things true from now on. See, it's solid, it's not going to push down, not going to go anywhere. So now I'll take a measurement here off the end that tells me exactly how big of what measurement I want to put on that Alaskan apparatus. Oh, we're down here. We're just below that. So I want to set the mill for 6 3/4 inches. Yeah, that'll make sure I don't touch any of my nails or screws as I come through here. 6 3/4. Measure twice. This Granberg 24-inch mill has a nice scale built right into this guide bar. I just need to remember to look at this member here, not the one down there. So I got a thick piece the other day. They're always making improvements and add-ons to these systems, and now you can get a quick release bolt. Instead of me doing this, I could buy some parts and it'd just be a quick release for when I wanted to move this thing around. But all right, see if that looks right. Yep, 6 3/4. I think after all of that, we're ready to warm up the saw and do some cutting. Well, that was the hard one. Now we'll just slip this slab board off here and set the Granberg mill to 2 1/4 inches for our floor plank, and we'll start the next cut. I've been sharpening and refueling between every cut, but before I come out today, I think the saw is running a little bit rich, so I at least leaned it up a little bit. It seems to be cutting faster, so I don't think we'll get through the next log, but maybe I can do a log and a half on every refill and sharpening. It's so easy at this point. Okay, we're back. One more floorboard. things can go fairly quick once you get that first one with the ladder done. Another somewhat free board. Total time on that board, about 17 minutes. I gotta check my angles on I'm getting a little bit of a funny texture on here that I don't, still got 2 1/4 inches, but it's just not cutting as smooth, and I better make sure I got my angles just right on that ripping saw chain. I think, okay. Oh, all I'll be able to get out of here now is maybe an 1 1/4 plank for the roof boards. By the time I did a 2 1/4 down here, it'd be such a small piece, it's not worth it. So we'll haul it up to the cabin yard the way it is.